Francis Ngannou is leaving the UFC, and Aljamain Sterling is injured, leaving him not able to defend his title in March. All this and more in today's episode. What's up, guys? Welcome back to a brand new video, and today, once again, we're back talking about topic. Last chance to comment Q&A questions, because tomorrow will be the Q&A. Like I said, thank you guys for the support on these videos, the likes, the comments. But we're also launching a membership program. Now, of course, you guys don't have to give anything to the membership. This is just really just to support me. There's different tiers, but I made it not so expensive. So if you want to hit the membership button and subscribe and support the channel and get exclusive content and priority reply, and even if you pay for the highest one, you'll get a follow from me on Twitter. So if that interests you, just click the join button and you can join today. So anyway, let's get into this. All right, Francis Ngannou is a guy that we haven't seen fight in over a year now. He last fought Cyril Gane and severely injured himself, tore his ACL, and was going to be out for a while and had some serious surgery. Anyway, by this time he should be back, but there's a whole nother problem. Francis Ngannou is saying that the UFC is not paying him enough. We already know this, and has basically been annoying Dana White now for about a year. He's saying he deserves more money. He's getting paid like $600,000 per fight plus pay-per-view, and we're gonna get into my thoughts on this. But listen, there are rumors that Francis Ngannou's contract ended last month, and right now they're in that 90-day negotiation period that could last maybe until March. And obviously, if it's up to the UFC, they want Francis Ngannou and John Jones to fight in March, and right now we haven't really heard anything about that fight. But right now, especially on Twitter and in the MMA world, there's a lot of rumors suggesting Francis Ngannou is actually not going to get re-signed. And you know, of course, I don't treat rumors too serious until I saw Francis's Instagram. Now, if you look, it's him with his family, and you can see one of his family members has a PFL shirt. Now, does this mean that Francis Ngannou might be moving to the PFL? Well, let's look at the timing. I mean, just last week, Jake Paul announced that he was going to be part of a new league in the PFL, in which 50% of the revenue of his division would go to the fighter. And let's just say Francis Ngannou does go to the PFL and makes a lot of money. He will definitely probably get paid more than he would in the UFC. So that's the situation so far, and I want to let you know my thoughts. Look, first of all, I just want to say that I want Francis to stay in the UFC. I think it's more interesting to see him fight John Jones and Sergey Pavlovich, Derek Lewis rematch. I would love to see all of these fights, and I think I speak for the majority of people that say that. But I'm going to be real. Francis Ngannou leads to an MMA organization that I'm not even familiar with. I am not going to follow Francis Ngannou, and I think I stand with a lot of people that say that, you know, and I want you guys to comment below if you disagree. Would you follow Francis Ngannou if he left the UFC? To me, I think a lot of people would find out on Twitter that he fought the day before. It's going to be like one of those things like Francis Ngannou won his PFL debut. You find out the next day. Francis Ngannou wasn't even a pay-per-view draw really in the UFC. His last fight gained only 200,000 pay-per-views, and keep in mind, Brandon Moreno was on. I mean, let's say that he contributed to like 60% of the revenue. That is not too much. And honestly, I would say with that card specifically, the majority of the pay-per-view was just from UFC fans. UFC people that are diehard UFC fans that are going to pay for pay-per-views no matter what they are. And you're not going to have that if Francis goes to the PFL. So first, I just want to say that this narrative that the UFC needs or wants Francis Ngannou for that matter is false. The UFC would probably be happy losing Francis Ngannou, and this is just the truth. I mean, I know a lot of people might be upset with this because I would love to see Francis in the organization as well, but the truth is that the UFC doesn't need Francis. Francis needs the UFC. But honestly, maybe he doesn't need the UFC. Honestly, if I were Francis Ngannou, the more logical thing to do would be to say, let me go to the PFL, get paid more money for being in there, and get a bigger percentage of the pay-per-view and have leverage in the negotiation. And a lot of fighters make the mistake of saying, hey, UFC is the big name, I gotta be in the big leagues. But the truth is, no, you don't. You can get paid in a lot of other places more. So in my opinion, I think the move for Francis is to go to the PFL, compete for that $1 million tournament that they do, and you'll probably make more money there than you would in the UFC. Now, how do I think this is going to end? Honestly, I think Francis Ngannou will wind up signing with the UFC. I think he's just looking for more money. We'll see what the UFC offers him. You can't look at boxing, you can't look at Tyson Fury and say, hey, Francis should be getting paid Tyson Fury amount, because for one, Tyson Fury is definitely drawing more in terms of pay-per-views and arenas, but also there's more competition in boxing. And if he wants that kind of money, he's going to have to go outside the UFC. Those boxing promoters need Tyson Fury. UFC doesn't need Francis Ngannou. All right, for the second part of the video, Aljamain Sterling, UFC Bantamweight champion. We know who he is. He was on the channel. What's going on with him? Now, obviously, there's been talks for a long time that he was going to fight Henry Cejudo March 4th as the co-main event of Ngannou Jones. Right, that had been the narrative for a long time. But with that March 4th card that is now about a month and a half away, we have no main event, no co-main event. We have no big fights on that card as of yet. And a big reason for this could be because the co-main event is in serious jeopardy as well as the main event. You see, Aljamain Sterling revealed that he actually tore his bicep and doesn't feel comfortable going through a training camp where he has to prioritize wrestling with the torn bicep. And a lot of people are upset because Aljamain Sterling, especially as of late, and pretty much the whole past 2 years, has been digging himself into a hole. I mean, he said a few months ago that he only wants to compete about once a year, and that's all champions can do, despite other champions fighting more than once a year. So a lot of people are upset about that, and now the fact that he's not going to be able to compete on March 4th. Now, I agree with Aljamain, you know, a torn bicep, a lot of people don't realize how much muscles you are using during wrestling, and especially defending takedowns. Aljamain is going to need to be in full health against a guy like Henry Cejudo, because don't doubt him. Even though I am choosing Aljamain Sterling to beat him, you can't doubt him because he has done great things before. So although I don't have much to say about the whole Aljamain thing other than hopefully he gets better faster and maybe he'll compete in April instead of March, but let's assume that Aljamain's out for a while. What do we do with the bantamweight situation? Now, as I've discussed in other videos, this whole bantamweight situation is a mess, simply because of TJ. No offense to him, he accepted the fight with a hurt shoulder and basically wasted a title defense. So what's going on now? We have Corey and Marlon Vera coming up. That'll definitely add some clarity to who gets the next title shot. Of course, we have Merab, but Merab won't fight Aljamain because they're friends. You also have Sean O'Malley in the mix. I mean, this is a whole mess. Who gets the title shot? There are so many good contenders. So you know what that means? Yes, I'm talking interim title. I love interim titles. A lot of people don't like them. I don't mind them because at the end of the day, who cares? It's just a glorified #1 contender spot. I don't hate on it. So why not do it? You know, it's a 5-round fight. It adds excitement to it. And this is a super necessary one. We need another interim title. Now, who could it be? This beef has already been brewing already, and I think a lot of people are going to be excited. It's a big test, but I'm talking Henry Cejudo versus Sean O'Malley. Yes, this is a problem because those two arguably are the ones that probably don't deserve it. I mean, Sean O'Malley did beat Piotr Jan, but it was a razor close decision, and before that, he wasn't really fighting anyone good. And Henry Cejudo hasn't fought in like 3 years. But maybe we do that, or we do Cejudo and O'Malley for just a 3-round fight, and then the winner of Corey Vera and the winner of O'Malley and Cejudo fight each other. Now, this is assuming that Aljamain's injury is extremely bad. I don't know how bad it is. There isn't a lot of details out, but he might be out for a while. But let me know, guys, what would you guys do about this whole bantamweight situation? Who deserves the title shot? Let me know in the comments below. Alright, guys, thank you guys for watching. You already know, Q&A tomorrow. Last chance to leave some questions. I already got some good ones. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please like if you did, and I'll see you guys in the next one.